All right, we're back at the channel, and now I got my engine stands all done. So I have a part one, I believe, to this video. When I say I believe, because I know I did the video, but I haven't actually put it on YouTube yet. So I'm pretty sure I have a part one, or either that, or I'm just going to go look at it and say, well, this was kind of dumb. Why don't I just start here? And this is my part one. But nonetheless, that's for you to find out. You can go on my channel and take a look if you'd like. But this is my two engine stands that I built years ago, and I have now converted them to be a what you would call a rotisserie engine stand. So how did I do that? Well, again, just real quick a recap. You can see that I've got these heavy duty engine stands that I built myself. Again, a lot of them were built with scrap metal at the time. Heavy duty box tubing, we're talking 3/16. I think this one it's 1/4 inch wall box tubing here. Had a pipe that I, heavy duty pipe, very thick walled, as you can see right here, that I put it in my lathe and just kind of, made it to where it's about 1.5 inches. I use 1.5 inch shaft and put it inside these backing plates here, this one, and I'm not going to take that cover off to show you there, but you get the idea. There's one over there as well. And basically just, I had 1.5 inch shaft, and as you can see here, I had a lock bolt. I just welded a nut here, put the bolt through there, and then would rotate the engine wherever I wanted it, and then lock it down. And that's all fine. It's just that when you're rotating the engine, by hand, me being an adult male, not really a problem, but, I've had my daughter help me a couple times. I've had smaller kids that I'm teaching how to do this stuff, and they can't quite roll the engine all the time. And it's almost kind of dangerous to do so because it wants to, if it's not balanced right, it'll, swing around really fast, etc. And I've always wanted to have a rotisserie engine stand, and now I have made that a reality. So how did I do it? Well, this was not my idea, by the way. I found it on YouTube, where you are possibly right now, but you should be over on Rumble, because this video will be on Rumble as well. But nonetheless, that's how I found it. Was out there on the internet. Some guy had basically taken and bought semi-tractor trailer S-cam, brake S-cams, the shafts, and then he took a slack adjuster, a semi-truck brake slack adjuster, and he put them on his engine stand very much like how I just done it here, and he made it work, and it looked like a great idea. Most of your cheap Harbor Fags, engine stands, Scummit Racing, Dregs, I call them Jegs, whatever. They are the real cheapies that have really crappy casters, the metal steel ones, dinky. They stop, trying to roll over a little pebble. Not to mention they're made out of what, like 1/8 inch, maybe 12 gauge steel at best. And, they flop with a big block hanging on it and everything. But as you can see, I built my own. I put them really nice, big casters that I can literally go over concrete cracks and everything, no problem. And, again, I had used 1.5 inch shaft. Well, hey, guess what? These S-cams can be bought in 1.5 inch shaft with the splines already on it that would actually, go into these slack adjusters in real life. And I just kind of thought, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Since I don't have, one of them cheap Harbor Fags type, I keep saying Harbor Fag because that's a local store here that most everybody and goes out and buys their engine stand from. I think they actually have one of them crank rotisseries over there as well. But then the thing is that you can't actually remove this. Like that backing plate is just built into the top part of the stand. And so you have to bring the engine over here and you have to bolt it up to the backing plate always while the engine is hanging. Whereas, this situation, perfect example, yesterday I had this block laying on its nose over here. I took the shaft with the backing plate and I just sat it on the back there, put the bolts into it, centered it exactly where I want it, tightened everything up, and then we just lifted up the block and slid it right in to the engine stand here and splined it right there. And so that's why I wanted to do it this way, because first of all, as I said, 1.5 inch shaft I'm already using, so it's perfect. The splines are already on these shafts, and the slack adjusters are pretty cheap, and it got the concept that you need. You got a worm gear right here with a round, what do you want to call that? Not a ring gear, basically, right? And whenever you stop spinning this, when you sit there and you put your wrench on it or whatever, and you turn it, and whenever you stop, the mechanical advantage of that, this thing will not roll. And if it does, what's cool about these, and I'm going to show you here in a second, these locks right here actually are spring loaded, and they pop out, and they will actually lock it in place. It's just not going to go anywhere. So it's perfect. I no longer have to use my my bolt locks anymore. All right. What did I do? I basically took and bought some S-cams. You can see this one here just a little bit longer. I bought the wrong one. I didn't really know that they made a 9-inch one. As you can see here, I got it perfect. It fits barely right here, and it fits barely right there as well. And here's the backing plate immediately. This one here, you can see got a little space here, and you got some space there. It still works. It's just that I did better buying the second one than I did the first one. As you can see that the slack adjuster, they are exactly the same, so no difference there. So anyway, my this is 7 inches right here, same with this one. About they're within 1/4 inch of each other, but that 9 1/16 I believe S-cam, brake S-cam, was the perfect length of shaft. As you can see, it really fits perfect over there. And I took a grinder, and on the one end you've got the forged S-cam that's going to actually be inside your brake drum on a semi application. And I took a grinder and I just ground off the big old gnarly hook and S on it. And then I took it over to a friend of mine who's got a machine shop, and he was able to machine it to where, because these backing plates were already cut to 1.5 inches right there, and I had him machine it to where, because it would be, in my opinion, a lot faster, a lot easier for him to get it perfectly centered than me doing it with a grinding disc, which again I was able to get the the big gnarly S's off, but I ended up letting him machine about 3/4 inch from the very end back, and getting it to 1.5 inch diameter. And then you can see here I welded that up really nicely right there, and then on the back side just kind of welded it just on one side and on the other side, not completely around on the back side. I mean, really, it slipped on there nice. It's pretty snug. It's not going anywhere at this point. So, and then so you got you got that welded on there to that S shaft, and you just basically install it inside here. And then now the only thing left to do is get the proper length bolt right here to go right through your slack adjuster. You can see this one here has 3 adjustments. I put it down here at the very bottom one to give, I guess, the best mechanical advantage, if that's makes any sense at all. When I got this thing mounted on here, I actually pumped about 2 or 3 pumps of grease in it, turned it a quarter turn, did it again, and I kept doing that until I went all the way around. And that'll probably be the last time I ever grease this thing, because this thing is not going to be working that much, and the grease will be in there forever. As you can see here, I just took the bolt and I just welded it really well around the actual bolt head. And the threads here are about 1.25 inches, the threads. So basically what you got to do is you just got to figure out how much of a long of a bolt that you're going to need based upon how much of your shaft is sticking out the back side. Again, this one here being that I didn't get the exact correct shaft like I did over there. It sticks out a little bit further. It's really not going to bother anything, but nonetheless, it does make the engine stand a little bit longer. and so I had to use a little bit longer bolt over here than I did over there in a way. Well, no, you know what? Now that I think about it, I had to use a longer bolt here because, as you can see, I've got this one here offset quite a bit, and I don't even remember why I did that. You can see I got a little bit here. Yeah, so anyway, that's the way it is. You just got to figure that out. Go ahead and weld your bolt on there, like I said, like that. Weld all the way around. And the guy that I saw online, he actually just took and put a bolt or a nut on this side here is all he did, and he doesn't have anything on this side. I decided, and I chose to put a washer and a washer and then a nut on each side and pinch it. And I decided to do that because, you know, if you've just got that thing slipped over the top, you know, the slack adjuster, you just slip it over the bolt and you put a nut there. Okay, yeah, it can't really, like, you know, move really, right? Maybe just a little bit. Depends on what you got going on up here. Like this, for example, if I didn't put this on here, there is a potential that it could slide this way. It probably won't with the weight of the engine and everything locked into those splines. But my point is, it could. And then the other thing is that when you actually, you know, when you actually clamp that, you are making that whole assembly much more rigid, rather than that thing just, you know, kind of trying to flex on the bolt or whatever a little bit, you know, left and right. When you pinch that sucker, it's going to put all the stress over here, really, at the weld. And I mean, the way I got that thing welded on there, it's pretty solid. So I suppose you want to see this thing in action. So just so I can show you, I actually have a Milwaukee electric ratchet here, and this is what I plan to use to rotate this sucker. Now this is just an empty 302 block here, and I've already actually operated this thing, and it worked just fine. But this is a 14 millimeter socket, by the way, that it seems to fit on there better than metric, or excuse me, SAE. SAE, the only thing I got to fit on that was 9/16, and in my opinion it was a little sloppy. So probably a 14 is what it actually is supposed to be. Everything is kind of metric these days anyway. So alright, so I'm going to try to do this with one hand. I'm going to swap my hand here holding the camera, swap the other hand holding my handy dandy thing here. Okay, so you can see that I'm caught in between like a tooth. Otherwise, this shield, this right here, this little locking shield, would be popped all the way out, and it would be flush with this. And then I would have to actually put it on there. You can see it actually moving in and out now. So I'm going to hold it, and here we go. Ready? Oh, see, you got to push it and hold it. Yeah, I'm having a problem doing that with one hand. Let's see if I can. Yep. I'm having a problem doing that with one hand. Yeah, guys, sorry. I'm trying to hold that baby with... I'm having a problem doing that with one hand. Anyway, it was just working here a minute ago because that spring really pushes hard. And let's see if I can get it over here maybe. Yeah, I know you're not able to see anything that's happening here. Here we go. All right. There we go. You can actually see it moving. Okay, and then when there you go. Now you can actually see that thing come out kind of flush. And at this point, it's basically locked that thing in to where you cannot move it. Although the mechanical advantage you have in here, even a heavy engine that's a little lopsided, is probably not going to overcome that gear and pinion combo, warm gear combo. So anyway, just wanted you to I wanted to entertain you a little bit today, which I obviously have done, and you know, probably made you laugh and chuckle, and I don't blame you. But anyway, I am going to now shut the video off and figure out why it is I couldn't get that sucker pushed in. I was having a hard time. I mean, these things are brand new. They haven't been broken in or anything. Oh, I know. I can see what I'm doing here. Yeah, I'm getting hooked up on... that's what happened. Yeah, I'm getting hooked up on my wrench here. That's what's going on here. All right, well, now I figured it out. Yeah, see? But that's a cool thing now, see? I don't need this anymore, so I can actually take that stupid thing off of there. As you can see over here on this one, I got my my fancy-dancy high-dollar snap-on wrench that's been hanging on here. Now I can actually put it away in the drawer. I'll be doing that a little bit later. But anyway, now I know what happened there. That thing got bound up on that wrench is what happened. So, yeah, it was hard to see all that happening when I'm trying to hold the camera, talk, and one-handedly use the ratchet, which is why I use the electric ratchet. I figured, hey, that'll be a lot easier to use an electric ratchet than to sit there and try and manipulate one hand. But anyway, you get the idea, and you now see what is going on. And by now, you probably already shut the video off. I really don't give a shit. But nonetheless, hey, this is the information that you've been looking for, and you just found it here. Hopefully, it works for you. Like, subscribe, rumble, 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 most importantly, and we'll be talking to you soon on the next one.